Hey there, I've got one habit that if you apply this one habit, it will make the difference in any area of your life.
You already know.
My passion and my mission to help you unleash your greatness within. My heart goes out to the underdogs that's on their way. If you think you can go from good to great, okay, let's motivate. Greatnesswithin.com. TJ Hoisington. Greatnesswithin.com.
All right, so the habit is how to communicate with people successfully. And actually, it's not just one habit, it's 4 habits that I've come up with that if you will apply these 4 habits, they will make all the difference in your life and with your goals. I promise you. So here's habit number 1. And that is you must have, when communicating with people, you must have a positive countenance. I mean, this is really everything. People want to be around people that they gravitate toward, right? And those people are positive. Pay attention to how you come across. When someone smiles, do you smile, right? When someone laughs, do you chuckle a little bit and share in the laughter, right? Or are you a stick in the mud? I'm telling you, I meet people all the time that haven't learned this. I mean, it could be something as simple as walking across the street and someone in a car waiting for you and you wave to them and they just stare at you, right? That's not effective if you're going to get where you ultimately want to go. Obviously, that person may not be happy with their circumstances. We don't know what their story is. Maybe they haven't learned these skills. But I'm going to tell you what, people gravitate toward people that make them feel better about themselves. And you can do that by having a warm and inviting countenance. All right, that's habit number 1. Habit number 2 is be more curious. You've got to be more curious in your questioning of people and in your conversations. Here's the reality. Most people are talking about themselves. You know what? You can have influence on people if you can ask them additional questions that cause them to share more of their story with you. For example, when I first meet someone for the first time, I'll always ask them things like, hey, tell me about your background. Are you married? Do you have kids? Right? How did you end up in this organization? Right? And sort of kind of find out their story. In fact, that's one of the things that I'll say is, hey, what's your story? I mean, I will talk to people at the gas station. Hey, how are you doing? And if they're positive back to me, I'll say, hey, tell me your story. What's been going on lately? And they'll maybe be taken back a little bit, but how quickly, every day almost, people will start to share insights into their lives. I'm telling you, a lot of that has to do with having a positive countenance and being curious, asking for the information in a sincere and honest and good way. I tell you, people respond well to it because you want to know why? Everybody's favorite subject is themselves. So if you'll spend more time asking questions about the person you're talking to, I'll tell you what, you're going to connect at a deeper level. And that leads us to number 3, be a better listener. Understand this, that hearing is a faculty, but listening is a skill. So how can you be more effective at listening? Let me tell you something. Make a decision, a true decision that you're going to be a better listener. You imagine what would happen if you went home and you began to be a better listener with your children or your spouse or whoever, your significant other. I'll tell you what, it will make all the difference in your world. Right? And here's one of the patterns of great conversationalists. They will spend 20% of their time asking questions and then 80% of their time listening and maybe asking some additional questions and then listening a little more. What most people do is they may ask one question or don't ask any question at all, and then they turn around and start talking about themselves. I'll tell you what, that breaks rapport. It loses interest of the people you're talking to. It's unbelievable. So you want to make sure that you're spending the majority of your focus and time sincerely listening to the people that you talk to. Seek to understand, okay? This is really vital. Don't get caught up in yourself, right? Get caught up in them by asking questions and then truly listening and finding out more and truly listening. And one habit that you can employ in the listening side of things is restate what you heard them say. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. When you repeat what you think you heard someone say, and it gives them the opportunity to correct what you heard or agree with it, I'll tell you what that does is it signifies that you care. And that's what you're really trying to do. Be sincere, be human, really try to listen and understand. And if you'll restate the questions that they ask, that is really important. And then the fourth habit is show empathy. How do you empathize with someone? You listen to them, you're more curious, you restate what you've heard, but also part of empathizing with someone is when they share something that might be difficult, disappointing, maybe a mistake or something that their trial that they're going through. Listen, you can soften your tone. You can soften your demeanor. You can lean in a little bit, right? You can smile or you can raise your eyebrows and really give the impression that you're trying to listen and trying to focus on what they're saying, right? Showing empathy is take the phone out of your hand, put it down. If you're at a meal with someone and you're communicating and you can tell they're coming on to share something sensitive with you, hey, set your silverware down, lean in, listen to them. And then restate what you heard. And then acknowledge what they've said. Oh, I can see where you're coming from. Wow, that makes sense, right? These are just little patterns that you can employ. So number one is from the get-go, right? Because the first 4 seconds you meet someone, they've already determined what type of person you are. You've already made an impression on them in 4 seconds. So I'm gonna say, you've gotta have a more positive countenance. Number 2, you gotta be more curious with people. Number 3, you gotta be a better listener, right? Let them talk more than what you talk about. And remember, their favorite subject is themselves. So the more you can keep the focus on them, the better off the end result will be. And then the last one is empathize with them. Try to see it from their vantage point. And if you'll do that sincerely, I'll tell you what, people will share all kinds of things. And you know what? Ultimately, they're gonna be more willing to listen to you and you're gonna have more influence on them. All right? I hope that makes sense. And I hope that you employ these 4 habits into your communication skills as you seek to be a more effective and more successful communicator with people. Remember, you're unstoppable. Remember, you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. Remember, you're the best you there ever was. But the better part of you is when you seek to truly understand other people. It's the law of reciprocity. It's generosity that when you find out more about them and you listen, people are going to be more engaged in what you have to say and what you're about. All right, I hope that makes sense. And may the best of your past be the worst of your future. Now go unleash your greatness within.